Hi, this is Shelly Ross Silva, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we will be discussing all things real estate. Today, we will be discussing real estate, particularly important terms for first-time home buyers. What is an offer? Great question. It's a specific amount of money that the buyers would like to present to the sellers through their agents, of course, in order to gain the contract for the house. Now, of course, I want to just mention here in the state of Texas, we have very low inventory, and particularly in the DFW Metroplex, we have a lot of what is going on, which is considered highest and best. Okay, so you say highest and best. What is that exactly? Highest and best is basically saying that we have multiple offers on the very house or property that you're interested in. So let's say, for example, the house that you really, really love is coming up. The list price is $300,000. Okay, and we submit our list at $300,000, and then we discover that there are 10 other people who have also submitted an offer on the same house. What ends up happening is the listing agent of that property will reach back to all of the agents who have submitted offers and say we either have 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever their time frame is, to resubmit a highest and best offer. So that 300 can potentially be 310, 325, whatever your budget will allow for you to actually be in the running for that property. What is contract? Great question. So a contract is actually the document that says, hey, congratulations, you won the bid. Out of all the people that were trying to get this house, you have won the bid. So regardless of how much that may have been either at list price or over list price, you have won the bid. So what happens next is you have a short period of time to, number one, turn in your option fee and your earnest money. And I'll discuss what that is shortly. What's an option period? Very good question. So an option period is the amount of days after you have already gained your contract. Remember, you are now the person that has been selected to purchase the house. So what you want to do before anything else is to get an inspector out to inspect this property to make sure that everything is on the up and up. You don't want to just look at the aesthetics of the house and say, oh, it's simply gorgeous, yes, sign me up, without understanding, if there may be some plumbing issues or electrical issues, possibly roofing issues, and maybe even foundational issues, which can and the end can cost you a lot of money to get it repaired. So your option period is an amount that you pay directly to the seller. It is non-refundable. You're just buying days to get your inspection done. Now here's what's important. If at the end of your option period you decide, yes, everything looks great, I want to move forward with this property, that's fine. Or you can say, the inspection report has given us information that says that there's too many things that are going to be wrong with this property. You can actually just walk away from the contract. Or third, you can actually negotiate with Mr. or Miss Seller on how you would like to see these items repaired, or if they would like to give you a financial allowance to getting those done. But option period is very important, and I do recommend it if at all possible. What is earnest money? You have won the bid for the contract and you're ready to move forward. Your earnest money is money that will be held in escrow. It's actually a security deposit that you are showing good faith in purchasing this home. Your earnest money will actually show up as a credit at the closing, so it's not money that will not be applied towards your purchase. You actually will see that on your closing disclosure towards the end. That number for the earnest money can vary just depending on how much the agreement will be between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. What is executed contract? So an executed contract is one that takes place after the inspection is done and both parties have agreed on the outcome, and of course after the earnest money has been in place. Your executed contract shows that both parties agree that all negotiations have been worked out and we are ready. We're focused on heading to the closing table. So this is a pivotal point and a critical point, because after we have executed the contract, if by any chance that the buyer decides, you know what, on second thought, I'm deciding not to move forward with their contract, the buyer can potentially jeopardize losing the earnest money after the contract has been executed, because the seller understands that the property has been off the market. And if the buyer decides after executed contract that they change their minds, then the seller will have could have possibly lost other buying opportunities from other buyers. So it's a critical point to understand, once we are in executed contract, we are all looking forward to the closing table, and all of our process is heading towards closing. What is a seller's disclosure notice? Very important document. So this document is given to the buyer from the sellers that has very specific information about the overall condition of the property. It will list if things have been repaired or replaced or improved or not improved over the course of the years that they have lived there. Now, of course, if you run across a seller whose property was rented out or leased, it wasn't owner occupied, then they may not have all of the specific information that an owner occupied property owner may have. And so essentially, this document is very important because it can be held, it can be used in a court of law. It is a legally binding document. So if 5 years down the line, you purchase, 5 years after purchasing your home, you discover, I've got plumbing issues, and the information that was given on my SDN, which is seller's disclosure notice, was not correct, there is a possibility that the sellers can be liable for any damages that the new buyer has experienced because of it. What is a survey? A survey is a plot that describes the boundary lines and the location of your property. Now, a lot of times you may not even need it. Of course, it's important to have should you ever decide that you want to do improvements on your land or your lot. If you want to maybe add a fence or something of that sort, you need to know where the boundary lines are. So before you do any type of improvements, you understand wholeheartedly that it is on your land and not someone else's. The sellers traditionally will give the buyer a copy of their survey to have. If they don't have one, a lot of times a buyer can negotiate with the seller to purchase the survey on their behalf. What is an appraisal? An appraisal is a document that shows the valuation or the value of your property. Why is this important? It's important because the lenders who have already given you a pre-qualification to purchase the property must understand that before they can underwrite your loan, they need to know that the value is equivalent to the amount that they are giving you for your loan. So appraisals are very important. They play a critical part in the purchase process. I've seen instances where, everything is going smoothly until the very end, where the appraisal is ordered just, maybe weeks before closing date. And if the appraisal either comes in below list value, a lot of times the lender will turn back to the buyer and say, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, your appraisal came out below list value by $10,000, and you have to come up with the additional $10,000 to close. This concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this information is valuable to you. If you'd like to see weekly content regarding first-time home buyers and other things regarding real estate, please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.